Why you need a partnership agreement and a buyout agreement. Find out how to put the terms of your partnership in writing so you can protect the business and every partner. A partnership agreement and a buyout agreement help you spell out every partner's rights and responsibilities, helping settle conflicts when they arise, and preventing minor misunderstandings from erupting into full-blown disputes. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. How you doing today? I'm doing fantastic if you were to ask me. Today I want to talk to you about why you need a partnership agreement and a buyout agreement. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. Now, how a partnership agreement helps your business. I just want to say that a partnership agreement allows you to structure your relationship with your partners in a way that suits your business. So you and your partners can establish the shares of profits or losses each partner will take, the responsibilities of each partner, what will happen to the business if a partner leaves, and other important guidelines. Now, you have something called the Uniform Partnership Act. Each state, with the exception of Louisiana, has its own laws governing partnerships, containing what's usually called the Uniform Partnership Act or the Revised Uniform Partnership Act, so UPA or RUPA. Now, these statutes establish the basic legal rules that apply to all partnerships in the United States, and they will control many aspects of your partnership's life unless you set out different rules in a written partnership agreement. Now, if you need more info about the UPA or the RUPA rules for your partnerships in the state where you're located, contact the State Department. Now, don't be tempted to leave the terms of your partnership up to these state laws because they were designed as a one-size-fits-all fallback rules. They may not be helpful in your particular situation. So it's a lot better to have an agreement in which you and your partners state the rules that will apply to your business. Now, remember, without a written agreement saying otherwise, your state laws will control many aspects of your business. Now, let's talk about what to include in your partnership. By the way, folks, this show is not about giving you any kind of legal advice. We've done research and we are presenting to you the results of our research. I would strongly suggest that you consider hiring an attorney if you have a business that requires specific concerns or specific issues to address. It's always better. All right, so take the info that I'm giving you today as an additional step in your trying to understand the whole legal environment surrounding your business, and in this case, your partnership. Now, what to include in your partnership agreement? Let me give you a non-exhaustive list of the major areas that most partnership agreements cover. You and your partners to-be should consider these rules before you put the terms in writing. Now, what's the name of the partnership, right? The first thing you must do is agree on a name for your partnership that makes sense, right? You can use your own last names, such as John and Doe, or you can adopt and register a fictitious business name, such as John Doe Repairs. If you choose a fictitious name, make sure that the name isn't already in use and then file a fictitious business name statements with your county clerk. Fictitious business name is sometimes called doing business as DBA. So besides the name of the partnership, you need to agree on the contributions to the partnership. It is important that you and your partners work out and record who's going to contribute cash, property, or services to the business before it opens, and what ownership percentage each partner will have. So disagreements and disputes over contributions have doomed many promising businesses. You have to also agree on allocation of profits, losses, and draws. Draws mean distribution, taking money out. Think about it as withdrawals. So will profits and losses be allocated in proportion to a partner's percentage interest in the business? Will each partner be entitled to a regular draw? Or will all profits be distributed at the end of the year? So you and your partner may have different financial needs and different ideas about how the money should be divided up and distributed. So this is a critical areas in which you and your partners must focus on. Partner's authority. This is another thing you want to spell out in the partnership agreement. Without an agreement to the contrary, any partner can bind the partnership to a contract or debt, for example, without the consent of other partners. So if you want one of all the partners to obtain the other's consent before obligating the partnership, you must make this clear in your partnership agreement. Partnership decision making. Now, when it comes to decision making, there is clearly no magic formula for making decisions among partners, but you'll just avoid a lot of trouble if you try to work things out beforehand. All right, you can say, for example, you want everybody to, before making a big decision, you want 50% or 60% of partners to agree. Right? So something like this. So you should carefully think through issues like this before, and your partners have to make important decisions. Management duties. Maybe you don't want to make ironclad rules about every management details, but you'll be wise to work out some guidelines in advance. For example, who will deal with customers, supervise employees, negotiate with suppliers, keep the books. So think through the management needs of your partnership and be sure you've got everything covered. Admitting new partners. Eventually, if the company is making money, is expanding, you may want to expand the business and bring in new partners. So you need to agree beforehand on a procedure, at least a methodical process for admitting new partners, so that the whole transition, the whole entry will make your lives a lot easier when the issue comes up. Withdrawal or death of a partner. This is another thing you need to specify in a partnership agreement. At least as important as the rules for admitting new partners to the business are the rules for handling the departure of an owner. So try to set up a reasonable buyout scheme in your partnership agreement. Now, remember that buyout scheme can be a standalone document or can be included in the partnership agreement. You also want to put a process whereby you can resolve disputes. So if you and your partners become deadlocked on an issue, you don't want to go to court. You don't want to always involve the courts. It might benefit everyone involved in your partnership agreements to have a clause that talks about how to solve issues, how to find alternative dispute resolution problems, resolution schemes, right? This could be mediation. This could be arbitration. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We are still talking today about why you need a partnership agreement and a buyout agreement. Now, if you have been listening to this show so far and you love the quality and the clarity of the content, please consider subscribing to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you can be informed whenever we drop a new show. Share this content, like, and subscribe. Now, let's talk about partnership buyout agreements. What is a buyout or a buy-sell agreement? Now, contrary to popular belief, a buy-sell agreement is not about buying and selling other companies. Far from it. It is rather a binding contract between business partners about the future ownership of the business. Because of this confusing terminology, let's just use here buyout agreement from now on. Remember though, as I said earlier, you can have a buyout agreement as a standalone document or as part of the general partnership agreement. And you need to have either or, because without a written agreement saying otherwise, your state's laws will control many aspects of your business, including buying and selling with the buy-sell agreement. So a buyout agreement means what? It means that you are trying to put in place the set of rules that will govern when a partner either departs or dies or anything else that makes a partner want to leave the company. So you want to talk about what price will be paid for the departing partner's interest in the partnership, who can buy the departing partner's share of the business. This may include outsiders or be limited to other partners. and what other events may trigger a buyout. You also want to think about a buyout agreement as some kind of a prenup, right? Prenuptial agreement between you and your partners. You might think, oh, your partnership will last as long as you all shall live, but the buyout determines what will happen if things don't go exactly as you plan. And life happens, things happen, stuff happens. You want to really plan for the worst so that you can really be comfortable if nothing happens. Let's talk about the events covered under a buyout agreement. Typically, there are a series of events, very specific series of events that are covered under such an agreement. The retirement or resignation of a partner, an attractive offer from an outsider to purchase a partner's interest in the company. Sometimes you also have a divorce settlement in which a partner's ex-spouse stands to receive a partnership interest in the company. You can also have the foreclosure of a debt secured by a partnership interest. You can have the personal bankruptcy of a partner, or the disability, death, or incapacity of a partner. So those are, in a nutshell, risk events you need to cover in a buyout agreement so that the vicissitudes of life, if you will, the risk happen to one partner does not spread onto the whole partnership and affects other partners. Okay? And the thing that is very important here is that you have to put in writing and agree to it with all partners when times are good, when things are positive, when things are great, everything goes fine. That's when you have to agree, so that when times become dark, when things become complicated, you can go back to that document and say, you know what, we had agreed to this. And again, the good thing is the courts will enforce this. The courts will honor the intentions of the partners. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We are about to wrap up today's conversation, and I was just talking to you about why you need a partnership agreement and a buyout agreement. Let's quickly talk about why you need a buyout agreement. Now, your buyout agreement will instruct and remind you and your partners how you have agreed to handle the sale of or buyback of an ownership interest when one partner's circumstances change. That's the keyword here. The keywords: change in circumstances. Because without one, if one partner quits to move to another city, for example, or leaves to start another business, your partnership might, by law, be dissolved, forcing you to divide any assets and profits among the partners and decide whether to start a new partnership with the remaining partners. This could be a waste of time, especially if the partnership has been in existence for, say, 30 years, and everybody's already 60 years old. Now you just close to retirement and you have to start over. No. Even if your partnership does not end, you may still have an argument over whether you should buy out the departing partner's ownership interest and for how much. So if you don't anticipate and plan for those circumstances, you risk serious personal and business discord, perhaps even court battles and the loss of your business. In addition, a buyout agreement can control who can buy into the partnership, which is another strategic hurdle put into place so that you don't get acquired by, say, your rival. If you don't put brakes in place and safeguards in place, this kind of contractual safeguards that you find in a buyout agreement, you can be bought over by somebody adversary to your company. For example, your rival. Right? But if you put the right safeguards, you can control who can buy into the company. All right? So this is kind of important. And even if your rival doesn't buy you out, you might be stuck sharing control of the company with someone you would rather not run a business with. Who knows? Stuff happens in business and in life. All right, folks, this is the conversation for today. I really appreciate your attention. So I spoke about 5 things: how a partnership agreement helps your business, what to include in your partnership agreement, what is a buyout or buy-sell agreement, events covered under a buyout agreement, and why you need a buyout agreement. I will talk to you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.